Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson,
Here.
Counselor Geisler,
Here.
Counselor Jelly, Counselor LeBlanc,
Here.
Mayor Boucher.
Sure. Announcements. Do any counselors have announcements this evening?
Not at this time.
I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in putting on a very successful Summerfest. We managed to dodge the raindrops for most of it. Appreciate the hard work that everybody put into it. Communications. Is someone going to highlight the communication, Mr. Mulder?
I can. We wanted to include the various pieces of correspondence that we have relative to the possibility of naming the softball fields after Tom Bang, and we wanted to just include that for your information.
And staff is going through some recommendations.
Yeah, we're going through a process to look at that. We've talked with the park board a little bit, and I would imagine that we'll have a recommendation to the council within the next month.
Thank you. Could you also give us a synopsis of the presentation on the Ascension Wellness Center expansion? That was
Sure.
done
We have been in the process of working with LHB and discussions with the Y about what a possible expansion of the wellness center might look like. And it really kind of focused on maybe about 5 different items. One was the possibility of expanding childcare. There's a big need for childcare in Hermantown. They have a waiting list of over 300. They currently can serve just over 100. This potential expansion could double that. We also looked like a possibility of adding a second gym and with an outside court as well. We talked about an area for seniors, that wouldn't need to necessarily be members of the Y, but could be a senior center where people could go there and gather and have interactions with other seniors there. In the second floor, we talked about additional studio areas, and we also talked about the possibility of, amongst other things, is maybe the school district having their administrative offices in the area that was the child care center. So we're just starting that process of talking about what might be included in that project, and then also what is kind of a order of magnitude in terms of cost, and then just if you were to proceed, would be a time frame. It's going to take about, if you wanted to proceed, it would take about 2 years from when you hire an architect to getting it designed, getting it built and opened up. So we're just having that initial conversation about what that might look like if that were something that you wanted to pursue.
And at this point, this is a concept and couldn't be moved on until there's funding available.
Right.
Thank you. Public discussion. This is a time that citizens can address the council about any item not on the agenda. We ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes per person. We will have time during the agenda items for public discussion on each item that's held up for a vote. So is there anyone that wishes to speak to the council at this time? If so, please step forward and state your name and address.
Hi, me again, Jim Sweeney. Address is 3929 Teal Lane. And I've just mostly coming to ask, has there been any updates on Peyton Acres dilemma as far as completion of the sidewalk or drainage issues that have been there?
So,
We have our city engineer.
Sure.
so Mayor and Council, about 2 weeks ago, we had a pre-con meeting with the owners of Peyton Acres in regards to their next phase of development. We also discussed the what I will call the drainage problem at the end of Teal Lane. At that time, the developer said they were making some improvements, and the public works director and myself we're going to monitor that and also go out there and take a look at things. I was out there last week when it was raining, And they're still, in my opinion, there's a lot of offsite water that's running onto the pavement around the cul-de-sac, and some of it is jumping the curb at Mr. Sweeney's driveway and washing out. So we're working with that developer to make that correction.
Thank you.
Have they been open to fixing the issue?
I'll say it's been a challenge.
Is this a road that we've accepted?
We have accepted the utilities substantially. I have not accepted the road as final completion.
So we could hold off accepting the road until the corrections were made?
Correct. And that was what I told the developer 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I lost 10 yards of material in that last big rainstorm. Right down my driveway. And then another question I had, just a quick one. Is there or has there ever been considered a ordinance on pit bulls?
I don't believe there ever has been a problem even brought to us about pit bulls.
Yeah, not breed specific, but we do have,
We'll have our own animal ordinance, and
And that,
there are provisions in our ordinances and in the state statutes for dangerous dogs.
okay,
And there's been some recent enforcement on the dangerous dog issue in another part of Hermantown. So our police department is active in enforcing those,
okay,
but they're also complaint based.
Yeah.
So if you do have a complaint about a potentially dangerous dog,
Yeah.
I would start with the police department as far as reporting it.
right. I have 2 times I've talked to them, and I want to keep it good neighbors,
Okay.
but I don't like the pit bull chasing my wife into their house either.
Well, they do deal with the complaints. It's a process that sometimes takes a while, as evidenced by the one most recently, but there are results that are obtained.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the council? If so, please step forward to the podium and start with your name and address. Is there anyone that wishes to speak to us under public discussion? With none, we will move on to motions. Approve the following medical combination cannabis retail registration of Vero Health of Minnesota LLC, DBA Green Goods at 4960 Miller Trunk Highway number 300. Do we have a motion?
motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder, is there someone on staff that would explain this, or do you want to?
I'll take a crack at it, and the city attorney and city clerk can correct me when I'm wrong. So the process is they file with the state of Minnesota, and then they have to be registered with the city. As we had talked previously, we were going to limit it to one retail outlet. And because this particular business already had the medical dispensary from a number of years ago, we said that we would allow them to be the licensee. So they are now, if you approve this, they would be registered, and then they get their license from the state of Minnesota before they can do recreational marijuana.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Just to clarify, I had asked during the pre-agenda about the time frame for that, and it seems like at this point, the state has not determined a time frame for that. So we shouldn't expect to see a recreational dispensary in the very real near future.
No.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this motion? Is there any public input on the motion to approve a medical combination cannabis retail registration. One last opportunity to approve the medical combination cannabis retail registration for Vero Health of Minnesota. Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is the consent agenda. Includes the minutes, approval or correction of the July 7th, 2025 City Council continuation minutes and accounts payable. Approved general city warrants from July 1st, 2025 through July 15th, 2025, and the amount of $1,016,570.67. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
And that was Counselor LeBlanc. Roll call, please.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next, ordinances. This is the first reading, but we will have public opinion, public input on all three ordinances, even though it's the first reading and no vote is taken. Ordinance 2025-14, an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Housing and Buildings of the Hermantown City Code. First reading, Mr. Mulder, do we need a little explanation? from
Yeah,
the building
perhaps
official?
Brandon, our building official, could just give a brief explanation of what we're trying to do here with this ordinance.
Mayor and council, three primary goals with this ordinance before you today. First one is to repeal the extraterritorial provisions that were adopted in lump sum but never fully implemented. Second goal is to take away specific language from our ordinance that has a need to continuously be updated as state statutes change, and instead simply make reference to the state statutes. So there's not as much need in the future to continue to update and or risk conflicting language. And then lastly, we are clarifying the appeals process. If anyone has a building code appeals, that link was accidentally broken with fire code adoption about a year ago. So we are simply clarifying that anyone with a building code appeal can apply to the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry Appeals Board, and they'll be heard within 10 days.
Okay, and that extra jurisdictional,
Yep.
that was done by mistake when we adopted it.
Yeah, it was never fully in effect because it's a multi-part process to make it happen, but it at least gives the appearance that I'm required to enforce 2 miles outside of the jurisdiction. That was never the intent, and that's not what we had wanted.
Thank you. Thank you. Any questions from council? Okay, even though there's no vote on this evening, if there's any public input on this ordinance, please step forward to the podium. Is there any public input on the first reading of ordinance 2025-14? And last opportunity for public input on the ordinance amending Chapter 10, Housing and Buildings of the City of Hermantown Code. Hearing none, we'll move on to ordinance 2025-15, an ordinance amending Title II of the Hermantown City Code by amending the official zoning map 4798 Miller Trunk Highway. This is another first reading. Mr. Mulder, should we have Mr. Johnson
Yes, please.
explain this?
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. So in 2022, the city rezoned 2 1-acre parcels located in the northwest quadrant of the Sunrise Cemetery. At that time, they rezoned it from P public to C commercial. The applicant and the owner of that property has since been marketing those properties for potential sale and development. The applicant has recently been contacted by a potential developer who's looking to build on that property, but needed some additional land to be able to accommodate their needs, particularly for parking. So what the applicant is requesting this evening is an additional 1/2 acre just south of the western portion be rezoned from P public to C commercial, that would allow for these two lots to eventually be combined, make a 1.5 acre buildable parcel at that point. In addition to this half acre, the request is to rezone 0.15 acres associated with the right-of-way of Stebner Road. In that case, that whole portion then would be rezoned P public to C commercial, so we wouldn't really have any gaps in our zoning maps that way.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Is there any public input on the first reading of this ordinance? Any public input on the first reading of ordinance 2025-15? Any public input on ordinance 2025-15? Hearing none, we'll move to another first reading, 2025-16, an ordinance amending Title II of the Hermantown City Code by amending the official zoning map 4798 Miller Trunk Highway. Mr. Mulder, is this Mr. Johnson again?
Yes.
Eric?
Great, thank you again. So in the course of reviewing the documents associated with this potential half acre rezoning that we just heard, the survey discovered a discrepancy in the legal description of those previously approved 2 1 acre sites. So what this is cleaning up that legal description. So when these properties will actually truly abut each other, it will not create any gaps associated between the two different parcels that way.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? With none, is there any public input on this ordinance? Any public input on the ordinance amending the official zoning map for 4798 Miller Trunk Highway? Last opportunity for public input on the first reading of ordinance 2025-16. Hearing none, we'll move to resolutions. Resolution 2025-11, resolution approving final plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the 2025 construction Hermantown Trails Section 4 and part of Section 3. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Councilor Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Jelly. Mr. Mulder, who should we have address this?
Let's have the city engineer address this.
Mr. Balf?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this resolution before you is for the construction plans for what we're calling sections 4 and 3 of the Hermantown Trail. And this is the first piece of the trail that's going to be funded under the Community Recreation Initiative. So this is these sections start at the southern city boundary at Getchell Road, where we'll put a small trailhead, and then we'll build about 3/4 of a mile of trail north and east to the Keene Creek Park. And then we'll leapfrog 2,000 feet up to Morris Thomas Road, because we previously had built that section. And then we'll go another about 4,000 feet from Morris Thomas, again, north and east to the Carlson Road right away, and then terminating on Johnson Road. This trail, there's a few different walls that we'll be building. There's a bridge that we'll be building over Keene Creek. And we have an add alternate in this plan set, and that add alternate is for the improvement to the parking lot at Keene Creek Park. So we would convert the mass of gravel to a bituminous parking lot with striping and lighting and a new sign. And the estimate for all that is at 3.7 million.
I thought it was 3.2 million.
I think with the trail or the parking lot had it was at, yeah, the soft cost. So it was, excuse me, it was 2.9 for the
Right.
trail and it was 0.4 for the,
3.2 for the.
yep, that's correct. 3.7 was from 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Do we have any public input on resolution 2025-11? 111, I'm sorry. Is there any public input on the resolution approving final plans and specifications and ordering advertisement for bids for the construction of Hermantown Trail Sections 4 and part of Section 3? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Next is resolution 2025-118, resolution approving amendments to the management compensation plan. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Peterson. Mr. Mulder?
So we, the city has 4 different labor contracts. We just settled the last one 2 weeks ago with the AFSCME contract. And so we always wait for the management group to, before we make any wage adjustments there. So this is making wage adjustments for just the management group, consistent with what we've done with the various unions.
Thank you. Is there any questions or comments from council?
I would like to second what you said in pre-agenda, that it would be nice to have some discussion at least with the council about some of these changes. Not to say that any of them that you guys came up with this year are out of the question, but
And I don't see anything wrong with the agreement that's come to. I just think it's important to have elected representation when we're dealing with negotiations with our employees. It serves as a vehicle to show our employees that we care about what they're doing, and it also makes us more accountable to the taxpayers for the results. Any other comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2025-118? Is there any public input on the resolution approving amendments to the management compensation plan? Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Next is resolution 2025-119. Resolution authorizing and directing mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver agreement for professional services with Short Elliott Hendrickson, city engineer services for the Birch Hills subdivision development project in section 23. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Counselor Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Geisler. Mr. Mulder?
So the brief explanation of this, and if you need more information, we can turn that over to either Chad Ronchetti or David Bull. But we've talked about a lot about the land at Morris Thomas and Orchestrum, which the city purchased a little over a year and a half ago. And we've talked about the possibility of trying to develop that land is the subdivision. So this would be an engineering contract just to do the design of the infrastructure. And it's at that point in time, if this is approved, they would produce that design. And if you wanted to proceed, then you would then could go out for bid for the construction of that. So this is just for the design of that potential subdivision.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council?
Just clarification on a time frame. It was going to start quickly or this summer, fall, and then design over the winter and possible bidding in spring?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other comments?
Maybe just for the sake of the people in chambers and anyone that may watch the meeting after the fact, I just reiterate what I said in pre-agenda, that I think what this has snowballed into is not entirely what the initial intent of purchasing that land was for. It was for control, yes, but more so for making sure we got our easement where we wanted it for the trail. And I think it's grown far outside what the initial intent was.
Any other comments? Is there any public comment on this resolution? Is there any public comment on resolution 2025-119? Is there any comment from the public on the agreement for professional services with Short Elliott Hendrickson for the Black Hills subdivision? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Nay.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher,
Aye. Next is resolution 2025-120. Resolution receiving proposed assessment roll for the construction of Hermantown Road Improvement District number 541 and 542, Hermantown Road and Bridge, and ordering a hearing thereon. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Counselor Jelly to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Peterson. Mr. Mulder, do you want to address this, or do we have a member of staff?
No, I'll address this. In 2024, the city of Hermantown reconstructed Hermantown Road from Uggstead east or west to Highway 2, and then also Old Midway Road. And we also reconstructed the bridge over the Rocky Run. So in the fall of 2024, we held the assessment hearing. And at that point in time, the city council decided to wait to proceed with the assessment because there was still a fair amount of work that needed to be done on the road, and we wanted to make sure that that was done to our satisfaction. That work is primarily done now. So we want to start that process of having the assessment hearing. That would be held on August 18th. And if then at that point in time, the council approves the assessment roll, that assessment roll would then take effect in 2026.
Any questions or comments from council? I have a procedural question. We may have some appeals or challenges to individual assessments. Does the whole assessment wait until they're all resolved, or do we pass the ones that there's no appeal and then deal with the other ones later?
We haven't discussed that with the attorney, but my opinion is that you would proceed with that unless you had, if it was one person appealing it, then that's that one person. Otherwise, I think you proceed.
So that one assessment would be put on hold until it's resolved.
I don't know that even if that it may very, I don't know all the legals of this, so I'm going to just guess, and the attorney can tell me
Let's
when I'm
ask.
wrong, is that the assessment would be levied. And if it's appealed, then it could be overturned. But in the meantime, it's assessed. So it's kind of like, I would imagine, it's similar to a labor contract. You work, then grieve, but you continue to do the work.
I
would
would agree with Mr. Mulder.
Okay, I just wanted to
Got
make
it right,
sure.
Mike.
You got it right.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't looking forward to another delay in this process.
We're not going to put ourselves in a position where the city has to pay back money to anybody that was assessed, are we?
Well, the assessment wouldn't go on until next year's
26,
taxes.
yeah. Hopefully they're all done by then.
Any other questions or comments? Is there any public input on this resolution? Any public input on resolution 2025-120? Last opportunity for public input on the resolution receiving the proposed assessment roll for the Hermantown Road construction. Roll call, please.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Aye.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. Next is Resolution 2025-121, resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and city clerk to execute and deliver a purchase agreement with Thomas Anderson for Spencer Thomas Holdings LLC. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion by Counselor Geisler to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Counselor Peterson. Mr. Mulder?
So this is for the purchase of the lot that is at the corner of Johnson and Morris Thomas that abuts the property that we have at Morris Thomas and Oakstrom. And again, the process that we've used, and we've discussed this at city council, was to acquire that property to kind of amass those two parcels on Johnson, and then also the parcel at Oakstrom and Morris Thomas. So there's all one contiguous parcel, with the idea of that would provide greater access to that property off of Johnson Road.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments from council? Is there any public input on this resolution? Do we have any public input on resolution 2025-121? Any public input on the resolution authorizing a purchase agreement with Thomas Anderson for Spencer Thomas Holdings LLC? Roll call, please.
Counselor Peterson,
Aye.
Counselor Geisler,
Aye.
Counselor Jelly,
Aye.
Counselor LeBlanc,
Nay.
Mayor Boucher.
Aye. And do we have any need for a closed session this evening? Next then is a motion to recess.
Move to recess.
Motion by Counselor LeBlanc to recess. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Counselor Jelly. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.